The strange thing about Will Rogers, the great American satirist, is that the longer he's dead, the smarter he gets. The presidential election cycle unofficially began the day after Labor Day, and I found myself in the library pulling the works of Rogers, whose populist newspaper column began its run in the New York Times 100 years ago. His observations read like they were written last week. Lord, the money we spent on government, wrote Rogers, and it's not a bit better government that we got for 1/3 the money 20 years ago. Think about that. The federal budget under Joe Biden is 3 times what it was 20 years ago under George W. Bush, who never met a dollar himself that he didn't like to spend. The federal deficit, what the government spends minus what it collects, is about 3 times more as a percentage of gross domestic product under Biden than it was under Bush. Now, in terms of foreign policy, Biden has made the same mistakes as Bush, committing the United States to a costly and endless proxy war in the Ukraine. The billions in military and financial aid to a notoriously corrupt country is also financed through debt, just like Bush. Will Rogers had an answer to this spiraling madness. I have a scheme for stopping the war, he wrote. It's this. No nation is allowed to enter into another war until they paid for the last one. Now, members of Congress trip over themselves to genuflect to the olive green cargo pants of Volodymyr Zelensky. Our representatives never come home, though, with a stated endgame. This was true in Rogers' time as well. The taxpayers are sending congressmen on expensive trips abroad, he wrote. It might be worth it, except they keep coming back. People today ache for a clear direction for the country. Instead, we get talking points and misdirection from the paid pipers from the political cesspool. If you ever inject truth into politics, you have no politics, wrote Rogers. Is there anything more untruthful than Bidenomics? Default on consumer debt, auto loans, and credit cards are at their highest levels in more than a decade. Because of inflation, more people are paying for necessities with their credit cards, and those interest rates, too, keep climbing. Another uncounted measure of inflation, but I don't need to tell you all that, do I? The jobs created in the last 2.5 years are basically those recovered after being lost during COVID. But job creation overall has not kept with population growth. Real wages are also down. And personal consumption expenditures, or PCE, which measures changes in the cost of living and is the preferred measure by the Fed to help determine those interest rates, are at historical highs. So the Fed's in a pickle. If it raises interest rates to cool inflation, it may cause a recession. If it lowers interest rates, the housing market may send inflation soaring again. In the 20 years spanning Bush to Obama to Trump to Biden, the government has printed money to pay for the promises. And now we've run out of gimmicks. The only sane thing to do is bring fiscal and monetary policy in line, and that's cutting spending and increasing taxes. I know, it'll never fly. Americans don't trust their representatives. Or as Rogers wrote, the only difference between death and taxes is that death doesn't get worse every time Congress meets. This election is expected to be the most expensive in history. Some estimates peg political advertising alone to top $10 billion. And what choices will we have? 2 cranks nobody wants to run. So I'm afraid Will Rogers was right again when he said, a fool and his money are soon elected.
Live from downtown Detroit, it's No BS News Hour with my main man, Sordid.
Na. No bullshit!
This is just it, breaking news. No more bullshit. No more bullshit.
This message of uplift is brought to you by business and personal wealth advisor Luke Nowacki, who reminds you that what does it profit a man to gain the whole world but never enter the kingdom of God? But while you're waiting, Nowacki wants you to remember that overreaction is not a sound financial strategy. So call Luke Nowacki at 248-663-4748 for sound financial advice.
Hall Financial is putting more money in your pocket with our exclusive no-fee home loan. That's right, you pay no fees to Hall Financial. So in addition to our nearly 6,000 five-star reviews and our average 9-day turn time from application to close, you now pay no fees to Hall Financial. This is going to save you up to $2,500 in fees that you'd normally pay to the other guys. Start saving now, 866-CALL-HALL, or chat with us at callhallfirst.com.
Yeah, no, hey, Ma, Ma, yeah, no, I think you're paying too much. Yeah, no, Legacy Partners keeps an eye on all your rates, continuously shops all the carriers. Make sure you have the best program. No, not only does Legacy do home and auto, they also have great life insurance. They can even get you signed up for Medicare and Medicaid. Remember, I told you maybe you don't have the best program? Yeah. No, you just give them a call. 586-209-4106, or go to their website, legacypartnersins.com. What's a website? Just call 586-209-4106. Oh, no, listen, the show's about ready to go. Yeah, it's a good show. Yeah, we got Dan Miller, voice of the Lions. Yep. Yeah, he's going to talk about Mel Tucker, too. Mel Tucker, Ma. Michigan State. Yeah, I know. Go Blue. Okay. I love you. Bye. Oh, what a bad week for Biden. Listen, I'll come over and I'll show you it on my phone, okay? My smartphone. It's the one where you can watch videos? Text? Did you get my... You don't know how to get my text? Okay, I love you. Bye.
Hi.
My mom.
That's what she has you for, Charlie.
My mom. Listen, Karen, I mean, you sent it to me just before we got on there. Bad week for the Biden clan, huh?
Yeah.
Hunter Biden just charged federally with 3 counts tied to possession of a firearm while using a controlled substance. Mm-hmm. Now, before all the MAGA people go crazy, just remember something. If you're a gun owner and you're smoking weed, you're breaking the same laws that Hunter.
Meth.
Don't matter if it's crack or meth or weed. It's still weed.
Yep.
You can't do it. So I would stop posting.
I know.
You smoking weed and then your guns in the next post. Don't do it. I'm telling you. I told you that before.
People need to stop thinking they got to tell everybody everything too.
Amen.
That's. I said the other day, money isn't the root of all evil. Attention is. Yep. I mean, it is just sit down somewhere.
You know what else is the root of all evil? Sell it out the country.
Oh yeah.
That is the root. Now listen, I believe that this thing, the Hunter Biden gun shit, it's a nothing burger, right? Mm-hmm. It's not tied to Joe. The serious stuff that Hunter was facing, like, dodging taxes on $8 million, somehow the Department of Justice let that sunset, statute of limitations. Politically, though, I mean, this is bad for Joe. This is an election cycle. I don't know, maybe you do, maybe you don't. This is the first child of a president
of a sitting president.
Is that true?
Yeah, it is. That this is the first time, but it is. I think it's going to have more political damage than legal implications, Charlie. And so this gives the Republicans something to kind of sink their teeth into for the election, and I don't think that they're going to let up.
Well, it's an anchor because remember he was going to get away with this with that sweetheart plea deal,
yep.
and that's gone, and that blew up. Okay, so the Weiss, the special prosecutor, I don't know why it took 5 years for him to finally bring charges on something you could have brought in 2 months.
It happens when your dad's the president.
Well said. I mean, that's so simple, but
it is.
That's what it is.
That's what it is, and you can navigate and circumvent all of the things that would otherwise be an impediment to us as regular citizens. But those are the things that work to his benefit.
So, I mean, the bad we continue for Biden. The impeachment inquiry comes, right? And I don't really care about the left, what they think right now, and I don't care about what the right thinks, because that $10 billion I was talking about is really spent to convince those of us in this room. I'm going to give you the counties right now, like Oakland County, Livingston County, maybe Kent County, Nevada, Clark County, Maricopa County in Arizona, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Virginia, Georgia, Wisconsin, Michigan. That's it.
Yep,
That's the deal. So I believe that there's more than enough questions to launch an impeachment inquiry. Do we all agree?
100%.
I mean, more than enough. These talking points.
Right.
It's not the media. You failed. You did. You failed us because one, Biden lied to us. I didn't know anything about my kids' business dealings. Period. That's just patently not true, and everybody now knows it. Right? Agreed? All right. There's at least $20 million in a web of bank accounts to the Biden family while Joe was in office, going all the way down to his grandkids.
Yep.
I mean, that raises some suspicions. I would like an investigation. As a investigative reporter, I know I would. That's obvious.
Every citizen should. They should at least want to know. I mean, because again, if that were anybody else, an inquiry and an investigation would be justifiable. So it is justifiable at this level
You got Hunter Biden on the Burisma board. His own business partner told you that his dad knew. He's being pressured by the founder of Burisma to get something done, right? All of a sudden, Joe's getting the prosecutor fired. I don't know if that's like what happened, but it's enough to look.
It is. And party loyalty is not enough to overlook this. I mean, everybody should ask for an objective investigation.
Did Joe profit? I mean, you don't have any evidence. Well, that's why you investigate.
Right.
We do know that Hunter Biden, and this is called evidence. It's not slam dunk evidence. It's not,
Smoking
evidence that would convict you up by itself. But he's sending texts saying, I got to pay half a dad's salary. That, to me, raises questions. And there's the fact that he didn't pay the taxes. He didn't register as a foreign agent. Why would you not? Why would you hide all this?
Because you're doing
can.
something illegal.
I know, I was just saying because you can.
Well, there's nothing directly to Joe. Well, let's take a look. We all want that, right?
Sure.
I mean, you didn't hear me bitch when they were investigating ties to Russia.
Well, if you have nothing to hide, too, you welcome an investigation.
Exactly.
If you're the citizen, you demand one, right? And if this is what's going on, we want it done.
But that's the accountability in government that we don't have at any level. I mean, it just doesn't exist anymore.
Right? So people say the country's not functioning. The country is functioning in this way.
Dysfunctioning.
You have two parties, right? They're slamming up on each other. You do have the media, and the media is more than just the newspapers or the TV now. It's also social media.
Right.
And we're loud. It's really loud. So, nothing gets to fester. It comes out. The country works.
But something has to happen after everybody expresses an opinion. There's more than just being upset or disappointed about it. Okay, so now what?
Well, let's keep an eye on our criminal justice system. It hasn't been doing us well, but if there's something, then you make the charge. If there's nothing, you let it go.
Let it go. You're
right?
Yep.
That's that. Now, very bad week for Stumbling Joe. I mean, dude, he goes to the G20 and then he's in Vietnam. I don't know why he didn't go to Vietnam first, then go to the G20 and come back for 9/11. I don't have anything against him for not being in New York. As a guy that watched it, and I covered that for history for the New York Times, Ground Zero. I don't have any problem. You're in the United States, Alaska, a military base. Those people work hard. That's just a fine place to do it.
Yeah.
Fine place to honor it, right? But let's just go back. You're in Vietnam. You got any clips here, Mark?
Sure, yeah.
Remember what I told you before the show? You're supposed to, just, hey, I got clips. Now I got to sit here and fake it hey, Mark, wink, wink.
He was thinking it, Charlie.
No, and Mark's keeping it real, man. He's keeping it stiff.
I was
keeping it stiff. He's like, we're not going to do fake news. That's no bullshit news.
I was going to say, I feel like regarding the investigation, is he going to pull a Reagan and just be like, I don't know what's going on? Because he's really laying the groundwork for not knowing what the hell is going on.
Well, Reagan, he doesn't know.
That might stick, though, in this case.
Will, Nancy?
There you go. Yeah. And here's Exhibit 1 of that, right?
He may have a game plan. He just hasn't shared it with me. But I tell you what, I don't know about you, but I'm going to go to bed.
What? What?
There's Vigor and Vim. I'm going to go to bed. I don't know what the premier of China's got in mind.
That's the leader of the free world, and he's going to bed.
He said, I don't know about you, but I'm going to bed.
All right, what else we got?
We talked about at the conference overall. We talked about stability. We talked about making sure that the third world, the Southern Hemisphere had access to change, had access. It wasn't confrontational at all. You came up
Thank you, everybody. This ends the press conference. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Who's that voice from? Obviously, she went to Oberlin and majored in humanities. Who was that telling the president to shut up?
I don't.
Pierre.
Is that Jean-Pierre?
Yeah, it sounds like
And now the music kicks in, and he puts his mic away, and someone yells a question, and he tries to answer without a mic.
Well, what's with the music?
Every person I met with.
Mr. President, are you worried about your son being indicted, Mr. President?
Oh my God!
Well, what's with the music?
Oh well, that's like basically you're at the old King Cole bar at the St. Regis in New York. Like it's the
So
piano man. Basically, let me get another one of these with those olives with the blue cheese in them.
So wait a minute, do you flick the lights at pressers now to let you know everybody know it's the last call? Like what is that? Have I not learned something?
Those were both so embarrassing. Just embarrassing.
It's not there, and everybody knows it, and the Democrats know it, and very prominent Democrats are now writing op-eds like he's got to go. I mean, we all know it. 75% of the country knows it.
That's really similar to, remember how what did he say, he had 6 grandkids, and everyone's like, what are you talking about? You have 7, and that drumbeat got louder and louder and louder to where they finally had to say, yeah, I have 7.
Old.
Is that going to happen here where you shouldn't be running for president? You shouldn't be running for president.
But he's old, and I don't dismiss age. I mean, because some people have their faculties about them well into their 80s and 90s, but he's showing a sign of decline.
They're both too old. Trump's too old. Biden's too old. We need.
Hey, let's put him in a ring. Now I'd like to see that.
We need new blood.
That would be fun.
Maybe that'll be the undercard of Elon Musk and Zuckerberg.
Oh yeah.
Well, are they ever going to do it? Pussies. Pussies.
That would
I don't
be
think so.
You know, when you got to think to fight, you're not a fighter. I don't want to see that.
But I don't want to see them in shorts and their shirts off.
Oh my God. Okay, so look now. Here, he lands in Alaska, and he lies about being at 9/11. Hold it for a second. He lied. Look, I can make an excuse for age, or I can make an excuse. You know, I mean, okay, it wasn't the next day; it was a couple of days. This week, you know, I couldn't make that.
Busy.
I'm not sure if he's senile, or we all know when he wasn't senile, he was telling whoppers and lies.
Yeah, plagiarizing.
Right? I mean, he just plagiarizing, making bullshit up. So this is what he said in Alaska.
Oh, wrong one.
Oh, look. Oh, that's Afghanistan. That's Saigon.
Mark, what is that?
Oh my Lord.
That was supposed to be Afghanistan.
Well, why don't you turn it off and
what
put the
is
one
it?
out?
I'm trying to.
Yeah.
It's the off switch.
Oh, I didn't even know you had that. Mark's got clips and
But
he's just
but this is
I have too many clips.
But this is the thing. Elected officials can say things because nobody ever fact checks.
That's so not true. I mean, they're like Snopes and PolitiFact and Pinocchios.
But it's also just smothered in the barrage of information and news. It's not
even the fact checkers lie. You know, all you got to do is just go look at the Hunter Biden laptop and watch how they've slowly changed what that fact check is. Do you have it, Mark, or not?
I do. Yeah.
All right, let's play that.
I hope this is the right one now. Jesus.
Ground Zero in New York. And I remember standing there the next day and looking at the building. I felt like I was looking through the gates of hell. It looked so devastating because from where you could stand.
What?
I was there. He wasn't there. He wasn't there. You mean you got there before George Bush?
Well,
no, he didn't.
The day after, he's on the Senate floor giving a speech. So, I mean, that's a very easy one to prove.
Maybe he meant he was there in spirit.
He could have been. He could have been there the next afternoon, but no, it's scheduled. He's doing meetings.
Were the trains running?
What in Manhattan? No.
Yeah, exactly. And he travels by train, so no, I doubt he was there.
So fuck you, Joe. You know, is like I said, is a guy that had to live all that. Like there's no.
That's too bad.
There's no calamity that you're not trying to score some points on. There's no need to do that. There was none. No. And no, I don't think that was senility. I just think the guy is an inveterate liar.
Yeah. Little white lies that don't mean anything too, right?
Well, they mean a lot.
No, I don't mean by that, but I mean what if he just said that? Hey, I remember it
When I
instead of
got
like
there.
being yes.
Now again,
Instead of
like,
pinpointing a date.
it was
Yes.
22 years ago. I can't tell you exact. I can't. You
But
know
I
what I
don't
mean?
think you should, like Mark
It's
said,
just
you
a
need to bring
blur.
it up.
It's a blur, but like
When I was there.
on or about. You know what I mean? On or about.
Or just
like,
when I was there.
I don't remember this day and this day. It was just horrible.
Yeah.
What was he wearing? I mean, some things don't matter.
Like, you got to remember something. My job for the paper of record was to chronicle that. That's what I did. No. And let's just be fair here. Trump's bullshit too. I mean, trying to, you got some clips, Mark?
I do.
Hey,
I
wow. You better
when
get
the
your act
World
together.
Trade Center came tumbling down. And I watched in Jersey City, New Jersey, where thousands and thousands of people were cheering as that building was coming down. Thousands of people were cheering. So something's going on. We got to find out what it is. Everyone who helped
Pause.
clear the rubble.
Thanks, Mark. You clip that, but he said Arabs, I believe, at the end of that. He goes, Arabs mostly, I believe. It's a lie. There is a videotape of thousands of people cheering. You know, Giuliani, you know what I mean? Him being what he is, I'll tell you what he did do. He was the guy when there was no Bush, when there was no Biden, when there was no Clinton. He said, do not go to Atlantic Avenue, which is where the Muslim population lives in Brooklyn, and strike back. Hate is what got us here. I'm always going to give Giuliani that credit for all the discredit he's brought to himself. I'm going to give him that. What he said, that's a fucked up lie. It just is, and we should think better of it. And your father's Arabic, isn't he? So just as a human being,
deceased.
yeah, well, God rest him. God rest him. That should piss you off.
Well, yeah, but it's the same thing, you know. Again, from the other side of my family, my mother's black, so yeah. I mean, but you should never just collectively group and hate or show disdain for people because of one person or the assumption of that group.
Well, yes, but then to make up lies.
Yeah, but that's
and
a whole nother story.
in a desperate hour.
Yeah, that's true. But everybody focuses on the emotion of it, and again,
that's not the way to lead.
It's not the way to lead, but that's what he thought would garner interest or support at the time.
Fuck him. He also said he donated hundreds of thousands of dollars, as we now know, because everybody dug into everything that he did. You didn't donate shit, so be quiet about that. You didn't donate. And then I remember him coming down again. Watch this. A couple days later, maybe 2 days, 3 days, whatever it was. But being the reporters, you had to be around him.
You're talking about Trump?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. But he was wearing dark, either it was blue or black. He was wearing the red tie to white shirt, as I recall. We all had to run up there. You know, and I didn't get my bylines on the early stuff. If you could get the cell, you would call into the office, or you'd run shit out to a runner. You'd have a guy, you're at 43rd Street. He'd come in, take your notes, and run it up there, and we go back in. But this is what Trump said.
Who helped clear the rubble. And I was there, and I watched, and I helped a little bit. But I want to tell you, those people were amazing. Clearing the rubble, trying to find additional lives. You didn't know what was going to come down on all of us, and they handled it.
They did. He's right
But
about
he
that.
said us.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, when we were all there, and as a reporter, sometimes you got to put that down. You can do both, and you're looking for people. They put us in a pen, and they would bring in groups to check this hole, check that pile, and you would write your blood type on one arm, and you would write your phone number on the other arm, in case you fell down and you died. And I just remember that looking at the area codes, and I saw 516 Long Island, and I didn't see any 212. I didn't see 1212, which is Manhattan. There was not 1212. So, yes, I believe that the West Side Highway should be renamed, and it should be called Heroes Highway. Because of the nurses and the doctors and the badges and the regular people that ran down there. Now he came. I had to sit there. Now, unless he went around the back and after he left, I didn't see a clean up shit, dude. So just don't. You don't have to. You don't have to.
I guess he figures it's easy to say because who is going to recall whether or not he was really there? Who's going to check? It's all this stuff going on, so it's easy to just say, "Yeah, I was there and I did this," and it fits the narrative. So maybe it becomes believable.
You know what I hate about it, because I watched a lot of clips, and around that clip is him talking about. I don't know if you remember when the Republicans attacked him for having New York values, for being whatever. I guess that means too liberal or something. He had a really great synopsis of, the police and the fire workers and the just everybody in that whole day, and then he throws that in there and just kind of derails what his message is.
And then you're saying like New York values. If you don't know New York, you don't know New York values. New York's got everybody, dude. Yeah. It's got everybody, and it works. It does. It's the capital of this country. So the New York values are American values. And if you're going to use that as a wedge, then get the fuck on.
Yeah.
Get the fuck on. New York, I grew up here in Michigan, basically. A little bit of Gary, but I grew up here. And everything I learned here prepared me for New York. And then I grew up in New York as an adult. So, you're growing up as a kid and you're growing up as a man.
Right.
And I love New York. And for anybody to talk shit like that, you don't know anything. You can't make it in New York because you're afraid of it when you talk like that.
Yeah.
That means you're afraid of the world and you don't represent me. But don't be making up lies in our worst hour. Here, I'll give you a quick one. Sorry, folks. It was maybe a week or two later. I was tired. I finally went home to get a shower, and it was 5, 6. It was time for evening prayers in the Islamic world. And there was a dude in white, in his long white shirt. And he decided on a crowded, because the subways had just started, and he decided he was going to pray right there on the train. You never see that. And he did it, and everybody was looking at him, and they weren't happy. I'll leave it at that. They weren't. Nobody touched the man. The man spoke for himself, what he was feeling. It was understood. It wasn't like maybe some people. I understood what he was doing. It was respect. Nobody hurt him.
Right.
That's the greatness of that city.
And that's how everybody should be. Even if you don't understand it, if you don't agree with it, respect it enough to let it happen. Right. I mean, that should be our MO across this country.
Or it's not going to work.
Yeah.
Now, here is the issue. 9/11 begins the mass surveillance of the world, including ourselves. NSA, the Patriot Act, Homeland Security, right? And at its root, it is Islamic terrorism. That's what leads to all of that. Now, we turned it on ourselves, right? We're monitoring, FISA court and all this. All right. So bad week for Biden. Let's look at Biden for a second. He was popular even with inflation until his withdrawal from Afghanistan. You got any video, Mark?
It just happens to.
Wait, you mean this one?
Look at this. Look at this. This is like Saigon. It's cool. If you play that out, you see a guy fall off and he wants so bad to get out of there. This forever war. And I said it on this program before this happened. I said, mark my words, the Taliban is going to be in before 9/11 with the Biden amateur hour, and we all know it now. Wow. You wanted a photograph for 9/11. You wanted a photo op, and it went sour, and his poll numbers never recovered. Then we look. So if you now look at the southern border, that is completely out of control. Everybody knows it, right? Ask the mayor of New York, Sanctuary City, right?
Oh, yeah, they got an issue.
Ask Mayor Adams. All right. Since Biden took office 30 months ago, the United States has apprehended about 275 people on the terror list. Okay? Jeez. 275. How many got through?
Yeah. Because they didn't catch all of them.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's wide open. So we've gone nowhere. Now we're just spying on ourselves. So do you remember the very first person, the very first story about people on the terror list coming through? care of yours truly. You know what I mean? Assam Mazi. Like, he's on the terror list. He's from Venezuela, born in Lebanon. Strike. They get him and his wife and his kid walking through the Rio Grande. Boom. He hits. They let him go because he's overweight. They don't want to get COVID. To give him a bus ticket up here to Dearborn. I did that story. Do we have that story?
We do. Yeah.
Okay, we have that story. And then I followed up yesterday. I went and knocked on the door where he's supposed to be, and then I got his brother on the phone. So let's play
both of them.
All of that. Like, what the fuck, Joe? I found out the Border Patrol caught a man and his family sneaking in over the Texas border last November. His name is Assam Bazi. And the thing about Assam Bazi is he's listed on the terrorist watch list as a high classified known or suspected terrorist. They let him in anyway. They were worried. He's overweight. They're afraid he'd catch COVID and lock up. They're not supposed to do that. I'm told they've never done that. Anyhow, he's living here in Dearborn with his wife and daughter at his brother's house, awaiting his asylum hearing next month. I reached out to Assam Bazi by phone. I'm just a simple man, he told me in Spanish. I don't know what they're talking about. Now, I'm no hater. If Uncle Sam says it's okay for a terrorist to be living in the United States, then it must be okay for a terrorist to live in the United States. I even brought Mr. Bazi a housewarming gift. It's a plant from a dead man's wake. Well, I'm not paying.
It's a nice plant, Charlie.
Understated. Some nice shrubbery.
Yo tengo un regalo para señor Bazi. Señor, un regalo para ti. Nobody home. Well, as we like to say in Dearborn, bienvenido a los Estados Unidos. Welcome to America.
In Spanish.
This is yesterday. Back at the door. No sign of this guy. Coming here for a year and a half now. No sign of the guy. It's on the fucking terror watch list. Unbelievable. Way to go, Joe. Well, is he living with you? This is his brother. On Calhoun Street or Middle Point?
On Middle Point.
Well, I'm at Middle Point now. I've been coming over the months and nobody ever answers the door.
Yeah, well, it's nobody home. And why you keep coming home? I don't like that. I'd like to come home over.
Well, it is the United States, so, I mean, it's okay.
Because you came last time and you put the flower on the door for that.
Oh, did you get that?
Yeah, I get that. I don't like that.
It was a gift.
It's not a gift. That's a funeral home.
No, it's a housewarming.
No. That's a funeral home. Please don't call me back again. I don't like that.
Okay, well, I have you on
camera and everything, but I don't like that.
Well, that's okay if you have me on camera. I mean, I'd like to have your brother on camera.
I know. It's not your business.
Well, it is, because it's my country and he's on the terror watch list, and I'd like to know if he's been given asylum.
You know, it's not a terrorist. I don't know why you keep saying it's a terrorist.
Well, it's the government documents. It's not me. It's the FBI. It's Homeland Security.
It's clear and everything is clear.
Well, that would be nice to get that straight.
Yeah, that's a clear from the time he entered Michigan. Entered Texas, it's clear.
No, I have it right here. It says, despite being a flight risk, a recent entrance, no equities, and a positive terror hit, the subject will be released on intern parole per headquarters. So, no, he's not been cleared. I just want to know if he's been given asylum. Or does he have a court?
I think you have a court in the year, I think. I'm not sure.
So there's another court date. He'll be going to that.
Isn't it his hearing yet?
Yeah.
Almost
okay,
2
well,
years.
can I give you my phone number? I would love to talk to his lawyer or to him.
No, I don't want you to call me back, and I don't like that. This is, no, I don't know how you got my number, but...
It's in the official Immigration and Customs Enforcement documents.
I know, but I'd like to call me back.
So you have no.
I don't know you. I don't know you. You don't know me. I don't want to call me back.
Well,
I don't want to talk to you. It's not my problem. It's not my case. It's not my.
That's why I'd like to talk to your brother, and this is his official number. Do you have his number?
I know. I cannot give you his number. For you to give you his number.
Can you give him my number?
It's not my business.
Well, it is your business. You're sponsoring him.
You call me. I'm calling my ID number. I don't have no number for you.
Well, that's customary. I can give you my number, but.
How am I gonna give you somebody's number and this is like it's not caller ID?
Well, would you like my number? And give that to you right now.
I don't want your number. I don't want your number. You just calling me and say no caller ID. How you offering me a number?
Well, that's
regular.
This is right. This is my regular line. I'm a reporter. That's how that works. So you know when corrupt when.
Now you're offering me your number. I don't want your number. Why don't you call me regular before?
Well, this is everybody that gets a call from me gets this.
I'm busy. I cannot be on the phone.
Is your brother working? It's all been taken care of. Yet nobody answers the door.
There's a lesson in there, Charlie.
What is it?
We'll save it for later.
What's the lesson?
How to use a phone?
Well, no.
How phone numbers work?
If somebody's saying something to you on the phone that you find inappropriate or don't want to participate in, you hang up.
It's not inappropriate, motherfucker.
I know, but he found it inappropriate.
9/11 to now. I want to know if your brother's been to asylum court, why the hell he's still here, and I'm just going to be frank about it. If you've been to the border and you talk to human beings, I call it bullshit. These aren't asylum cases. These are people looking for a better life. Again, if Ichabod Joe is going to fucking let the border open, I'm doing it too.
Wow.
I'm going to do it too. That's a complete and abject failure to protect the homeland security. We don't have it. What's this dude doing here? That's the first case that I've ever heard of. You're on the terror watch list and you're let in. Now, maybe it got adjudicated. I don't know. I would like to work that out. I called ICE. I called Homeland Security. I called Congress. You can't get a whisper on this guy.
Maybe nobody's watching.
Well, I'm watching.
I know, but maybe everybody's like, oh, I forgot all about him.
I'm watching, and you know what you should watch next?
What?
Dan Miller, voice of the Lions, and sports director for Fox 2 News. We're going to talk about Mel Tucker. We're going to talk about the Lions' chances this year. And the only thing in the last, since 2005, that has been the same, the only overarching thing is the Ford family owns it, but even that changed. The only thing that's been the same all these years is Dan Miller, I think, is he jinx. It's going to have to answer for this right after this.
Two with everything. A side of cheese fries to go. Ready, set, go, red, go.
Detroit might not make it to the championships, but you can have a little bit of Detroit at your next championship party. American Coney Island, 12 dogs with all the fixing. Air mail special, right to your door. That includes Alaska and Hawaii. AmericanConeyIsland.com. The first, the best, and better than all the rest. And they can't fly either. Yeah, baby, I'm going to Vegas. They got a Coney store there too. Yeah!
Okay, well, it's that time of year again. It's football season, and you know what that means.
What's that
means? Dan the Man Miller, voice of the Lions, and the sports director at Fox 2 News. Hey, how you doing, Dan?
What's up, guys? How you doing?
Real good. Thanks for taking time. I know you're busy. So let's just start with this because this is all the news. Let's take Dan the reporter now. Let's go to Mel Tucker if we could. If anybody at this point doesn't know, Mel Tucker is under investigation. There's a hearing come October. He's been suspended because he's pleasuring himself over the telephone with what would you say, a contract employee, a vendor?
A vendor of the university.
Yeah, right. A woman named Brenda Tracy who accuses him of, she's a rape survivor and a victim advocate, and she accuses him of unwanted sex. How would you say it, Karen?
I don't know. She said unwarranted. I don't know.
Unwanted sexual advantage.
It can't be an advance. It's on the phone. So
all right, he's on the phone and he's jerking off, and she can hear it, and
something gross.
It takes Dan. I guess the question for you: so you've been in this game a long time. Have you ever seen any coach of that stature absolutely burn themselves to the ground like that?
Gosh, that's one that you got to hit the memory banks for, but. I mean, Bobby Petrino comes to mind.
Explain who that is.
Bobby Petrino, when he was having an affair. Gosh, I got to remind myself of it. Motorcycle accident. I think she was there, and then he had to. Again, I don't want to say that because I don't remember all the exact details, but it certainly was the undoing of him as a highly thought of head coach. Patino had the thing in the Italian restaurant. He obviously survived that. Look, we've had coaches that have found themselves in bad positions before. I think when there's $80 million on the line, that certainly gets people's attention. When you're the face of a university and the face of a university's football team, that certainly gets people's attention. I think there have been other people within the world of sports, certainly, that have put themselves in terrible situations, that some of which cost them their job, some of which didn't, some of which cost them reputation. But this is certainly one of those situations. Look, there's a lot of details here that I don't know about, and they're all going to work themselves out at the minimum, it's extremely bad judgment on his part. But man, it just feels like with the lawyers going back and forth, it's a tough one to wade into beyond that, because it seems like there's so many things going back and forth.
It's tawdry. I mean, do you think, again, as the reporter who's watched these things over the decades, what odds do you give that he actually survives this? I believe he's done that.
Oh, I'd be shocked if he ever. I'd be beyond shocked if he ever coached another day at Michigan State. That's not going to happen. They'll pay him off and tell him to leave before then. Look, they're trying not to pay him. He's going to fight for his money. I don't even think his coaching at Michigan State is on the table anymore. I can't imagine that's even the remotest of possibility. This, at this point, is about the contract that Michigan State would certainly like to get out of, and he obviously wants to get paid. That's what this is going to come down to now. This is going to be about lawyers fighting through contract law.
Is Michigan State, I guess, more sensitive and perhaps not overreactionary, maybe prematurely, because of the Nassar situation? They had the violence on the campus. I mean, are they just in a position where they don't even have the ability or the flexibility to flush out what's actually taking place?
There's no doubt that it has to be heightened sensitivity on their part because of what they have been through in the past. But again, Karen, I think that's where we get into a little bit of what did they know and when did they know it? Because, the immediate reaction on Sunday was, well, you paid him yesterday and you're suspending him without pay today. What has changed besides the USA going public? Then it comes out that in a Title IX investigation that the university doesn't necessarily know what the exact charges are. They only know there's an investigation. So did they know anything? That's what I think a lot of people would like to know. It seems there's some plausible deniability in that situation. Total deniability, I think, is where people wonder about that they may not have. Because within the Title IX investigation, the university is not required to know the details or allowed to know the details of the investigation until such time as it's presented at the hearing. And again, Charlie, these are all things that people are sorting through because there have been knee-jerk reactions to people to things that have happened. And then all of a sudden there's, well, here's the provision and why certain things are happening the way they are. that's where it feels kind of difficult to wade deep into this, because there's so much that is still out there that we don't know the answers to at this point. But again, to Karen's point, yes, heightened sensitivity on Michigan State's part. If they knew about all of this and allowed him to coach, then I think you could really question that. But the question is, what did they know and when did they know it?
Well, they did know enough, though, to monitor him and his movements. They put some kind of, watch on him. So they knew it was bad enough, but yet not bad enough to suspend him. I mean, when they say this is the new MSU, it's hard to really buy into that.
They put a watch on him.
Yeah, there's some legal thing.
I didn't appreciate her tone at that point. It felt like she was speaking down to everybody and admonishing everybody.
The interim president.
They have a long way to go to get to the point where they're building back equity, to the point where you can say, yes, they're a new Michigan State. So I would probably back off on that and let your actions speak more than you speaking about your actions. And those are all things that still have to play out.
But what are they investigating? Whether or not he performed this act while he was on the phone? Is she accusing him of something else around? This one, Charlie.
What? Just
stop.
Sound effects.
I mean, what exactly are they investigating?
Well, October 5th and 6th, the two will sit down and apparently answer questions in a hearing that he says is a sham, basically, and in a hearing that she says she's going to be there to answer questions. I think they're trying to find out, were his actions appropriate? Which, based on what we know, well, I understand that, but he deserves due process in his hearing, and whatever Title IX provides both parties in an investigation. Or if it's not a Title IX investigation like he says it's not, which is, again, where it gets confusing, then I think he deserves to at least have both sides heard. And again, at a minimum, bad judgment. She's a vendor. She is not somebody that it feels like he should have been involved with on any level. People will point to the number of phone calls, the number of late-night phone calls. Was this more than just a friendship? I don't know the answer to that, but that's what he's putting out there. And then she's putting out there that's something that's totally different. I don't have the answers for who is telling the truth or not telling the truth at this point.
Well, we do know that Mel Tucker did not tell the truth when talking to investigators. I mean, there's
about where he was.
About where he was.
Let's go. Okay, so it is a vendor. Obviously, there's some kind of flirtation going on. I think she says as much in these reports. Okay. He knows. Like you said, Dan, it's about judgment, because I'm reading into this. He's on a golf outing representing the university, paid for by some fund that they have in Florida.
Donors.
So he knows it's company time. So it looks to me, and again, I guess that things will come out, you knew you're on company time doing this with a company vendor. I mean, that's why. There's no other reason to tell the fib.
Right. If his point is that they had an adult relationship that was consensual, is there anything there that would lead you to say, okay, that might cast it in a different light? And I'm not here to stick up for Mel Tucker. I'm simply saying these are the things that have to play out. That's his defense, is that they were embarking on a consensual relationship, flirtatious. She sent him a picture and talked about what it would be like if they were both naked. I mean, where am I supposed to go with that? I have no idea. This is his defense, not mine. I mean, but to your point, Charlie, yes, there was bad judgment, but is there sometimes a gray area if you have two adults? I don't know the answer to that. Is the answer no, because he holds power over her because she is a vendor of the university? Some people may say that's it, full stop.
Indeed. Do you know, did he have a reputation for this beforehand?
I don't know that.
You don't cover the.
No, I'm not out there. I'm not out there on a regular basis. I would not know.
Would you think the guy's going to coach again? Let's say it goes down the way
Yes, I do. I think normally what happens in these situations is somebody has a friend who gives them a job. Somebody makes them a defensive backs coach or a coordinator or something along those lines. Normally there's a soft landing for coaches with somebody that they know at a different place, and then they try to rehab their image. These are not great details to hold a press conference and say you're hiring somebody, with more details still to come. But I think normally we have seen guys that have gotten another opportunity. As I said, it's a buddy system that is out there, and they end up on somebody else's staff. We've seen guys that have rehabbed themselves on Nick Saban's staff, but
Bobby Petrino.
Those were different.
Yeah.
These are different sorts of charges than what we're dealing with here. So the answer is, I think so. I think he'll coach again. I think he'll get an opportunity. I don't know that he'll be a head coach again. I don't know that press conference is one that people want to have. But again, this still has to play out. We still have to see ultimately how this whole thing ends up and what the story is before we can apply it to where he goes from here.
Let me do this. I want to ask you the question. You too, Mark and Karen. And check this one out, Dan. He told you about Tucker's future career. Do you think this affects her career?
And that's what I was going to ask in terms of, does this now make her...
Because what does she do for a career, though?
Well, she's a survivor advocate or a rape victim advocate. So she's going around to universities talking to athletes so that they are conscious and aware about their behavior and the implications it has on females or women. So, but my thing is that does this help her emerge as a savior based on her platform, or do people now look at her suspiciously because of the unanswered questions surrounding her accusations?
Like, do you want her around?
Yeah, do you want her around? Like, does it make it like, I don't know, because I would only assume that he would not have used this incident on the phone as the opportunity to test the waters with her. He somehow felt like it was okay. I mean, you have to have that conversation, and people don't want to say it. But I know, but I just don't think that was the first time that he would venture out to test the temperature of whether or not that type of behavior was acceptable to her. I just don't.
All right, so Dan, let me do.
Dan said, "I don't care what you think or say."
You know, Dan's interested.
I got it.
Dan knows you're a smart woman.
No, I'm just
finally just on the culture of college football, Dan. I mean, it's not just Michigan State. Even though the governor wants to come out and, you know, I'm a survivor and I want answers. I mean, you're the governor, you can get the answers. But we had this bullshit go on at the University of Michigan. We had this go on at Penn State. We had this go on at Ohio State. There's things going on at Northwestern. Is the state of college football basically so rotten, or is this the historic culture of college football, just that the world's changed in the way we communicate?
I think there's some of that, Charlie, but again, we're naming several universities out of how many hundred that have big-time sports. And look, we have a cultural problem with, you know, people and sexual aggression and sexual assault and things like that. It's not just a college problem. Is it maybe more amplified on a college campus where you have young people, alcohol, opportunity, and things like that? Yeah, it probably is, because you have a concentration there of people that might be involved in something like that. So I do think it is something.
But brother, I wasn't talking about the student body. Like when I'm talking
bringing
about
it back
these
to
are
that.
adults.
I'm bringing it.
Nasser was an adult. Anderson was an adult. Joe Paterno and his staff, those were adults. That's what I'm talking about.
I think where you have people in a place of power, you have situations like this that can arise. Where you don't have, look, I think each of those requires a conversation, because there were checkpoints along the way where those situations could have been stopped and they weren't. So do we have a problem? Yes, but the problem isn't always just with the perpetrator. The problem sometimes can be with the system that's in place, that people do not fully utilize their power to stop these situations.
It's so fucked up.
If people knew about the situation at Penn State, which we know that they did, and didn't do anything about it because they were scared of the power of football and the power of Joe Paterno or Paterno himself, then that's problematic. It goes deeper than, you know, the awful person that did all of this. We're supposed to have people that help keep other people safe. And if you don't do that, if you just allow these things to happen, you know, tangentially because you don't do anything about it, then, or directly because you don't do anything about it, then that's it. That's a different problem. You have people that do it and people that enable them because they don't do their job.
Here's my neat segue. Let's get to pro football. Some good news, Dan. Now
That's why I thought I was here, man.
That's what I thought you were here too. You know, you wake up one day and what the fuck's going on? Okay, but anyway, you handled that very well. You've been the voice of the Detroit Lions since 2005?
Correct.
And now I did a little research. I don't have, the stat guys like you have up in the booth, but since 2005, I'm assuming you've not missed a game.
I've not.
Wow.
Wow, that's
okay. Wow. So that would be 293 games, including the playoffs. 293, Dan. Now, they won 108 of those and lost 185. Now,
I'm not doing the math. I'll trust you.
That is the worst record in football, except for the Cleveland Browns, who actually won a playoff game. So that is the worst stretch in pro football. And the only thing constant about the Detroit Lions in that time is you.
I didn't know where you were going, but thanks for landing the plane on my head.
Well,
oh yeah, I guess. Look, if I'm still there, and they still got a fighting chance. So look, if I got to take that on my shoulders, I'll take that on my shoulders. I think Rod Marinelli blamed me on the way out. I think that's what happened. No, I've been the constant, but I haven't made very many decisions where football is concerned.
But just to fluff you up a little bit, I do a lot of traveling. I'm on that Sirius XM. You are, and not because I know you, but you are the best in the business. You're the best voice on radio. There's just no doubt, Dan. Don't say anything. I just wanted to say that.
But everybody knows that. I told you about my airline encounter. I always tell you about that with Dan Miller. I said I was from Detroit, and the guy said, "Do you know Dan Miller?" And he just went on and on and on. So
he's like the Vin Scully of pro football.
So people recognize, respect, and appreciate you all across the country. So know that.
I appreciate that. I've gone from being the problem to being something good. I appreciate that. That's a big swing here in 5 minutes.
Now, having said that, out of every 3 games you've watched the Lions play, they've lost 2 of them. And, that's got to be hard. Are you really excited this year? Like, how much should we believe the hype? I mean, they went in Kansas City.
I'm excited. And look, this is a good team. This is a good team with a good roster and a good coaching staff and a good general manager and an owner that has put the right people in place. What you have to do now, and I said this at the top of the game on Thursday night, I said it's been a great offseason. People think the Lions have a good GM, think they have a good head coach, think they have a good owner. And you know what that means right now? Nothing. Because you have to now go out and do it on the field. All these bouquets that people have been throwing at the Lions, and I'm not saying it's not great. It is great because they're recognizing what they're doing. But these are the same people that are going to tell you how bad you are if you don't win games. So not to minimize what's been done in any way, shape, or form, because there's good people in place doing a good job, but it's got to pay off now on the field. Dan Campbell and the players will be the first ones to tell you they haven't done anything. They haven't made the playoffs. They haven't won a playoff game. So everything that they need to do is in front of them. But the decisions that they've made to get them to this point, to build a roster that looks good, to build a roster that has depth, and to put a team out there that people believe in is good work. Because if you don't do that, then we're just back where we were before, where it's a house of cards and you're just hoping, well, if this happens and this happens, they might be able to win. No, you're not like that anymore. Now they've set the bar at, if they play like they're capable of playing, there's no reason this team can't win a division, get a home playoff game, things that we haven't done since they moved to Ford Field.
How much of this is Dan Campbell? Is it just 100% Dan and everybody buying into him?
Well, I think it's Dan and Brad working together, and I think it's the culture that Sheila Hamp put into place. I mean, I give her a lot of credit. When she took over, she could have just hired people. When she fired Patricia and Quinn, she could have just said, okay, there's a good general manager, there's a good head coach. And I credit her and Rod Wood and Mike Disner and Chris Spielman when they brought him in. They did more than that. They took a look at the organization and they realized, now I'm going to give you my editorial comments here, that it was fractured, that there were a lot of people that didn't feel like they were a part of something, that there were a lot of people that, had kind of been left aside by the previous regime that only made it seem like the people within the football department counted. You can't win like that. You have to find some way to bring value to everybody up and down the organization. And before she did anything, she put that into place, that was going to be the way that they conducted business on a daily basis. Then she went out and got guys that live that life, that make sure that people feel valued. And that's from, Brad Holmes to Dan Campbell to Chris Spielman. And those guys have been 3 really intricate pieces within the organization. So it's a long way of saying, no, it's not just Dan Campbell. It's everybody that's around him. He's a big part of that. And certainly he's the face of it and the voice of it. But it's the people that they have working together there. The word that they use is collaborating, which truly is a collaboration there of everybody in the organization that has brought this thing together. It sets the table for being successful and sets the table for winning. What they have to do now is go on the field and do it.
Well, let me ask you this. Inside that building, inside that football team, and inside your head, what are the expectations? Because, lots expected from the public, and I hear this from fans. Man, if we can just win that first home playoff game, and I say, what's wrong with you, motherfucker? That's like an astronaut saying, if I could just get to Gary, Indiana. Yeah. Is the expectation the Super Bowl?
I mean, that's ultimately the expectation. Yeah, no doubt about it. You're not just in this thing to get to the playoffs. You're not just in this thing to win your second playoff game since 1957 and say, yay, we finally did it. No, this is about ultimately winning the Super Bowl. Now, is this team capable of doing that this year? We're in week 2 of 18 weeks. So, I mean, there's a lot that has to happen, a lot of things with injuries, and there's a lot of things. But no. But look, I think this team is capable of competing with anybody in this league. So
you showed it.
But they have to go out and prove it. Yeah, they did. But you have to go out and prove it. And I hate, it's not a cop-out. It's just what you are on paper ultimately is only a projection and a possibility. But what you are ultimately on the field is what defines you. And that's why I keep saying it. I've come back to this 150, maybe 1,000 times during the offseason is just go do it. Just go do it. Everything's in place now. Now it's time to take it off paper and put it in the standings and on the field and all that. What are my expectations? This team should win the NFC North in my mind. They should have a home playoff game in my mind. Talk to me about the rest of it when I see what they look like. But going in right now, they have less questions than the Bears. They have less questions than the Packers, less questions than the Vikings. I think the Vikings and Packers are going to be pretty good. I don't think this is going to be a cakewalk by any means. I think the Bears still have some issues, but I do think the Lions right now are the best team in the division. Now they got to prove it.
I think the Lions went and did what they had to do, which is they had to improve that defense, and it looks good. So I think is the key of all keys to play a Goff, the quarterback.
Yeah, but, I mean, I think we found out last year that Jared is part of the complete puzzle. This team's built around their offensive line.
Yep.
And we found out last year that if you run the ball, Jared's a heck of a play-action passer, and the numbers bear that out. And they went out and added Gibbs and added Laporta to the guys that were already here, like Amon-Ra and Khalif and Josh Reynolds and bringing in Marvin Jones and guys like that. So, yes, your quarterback, it's the most important position in all of sports. But sometimes it's what you do to allow that quarterback to succeed and allow that and put him in a position to succeed that dictates just how good he is at that most important position in all of sports.
I think it's
so that's
Goff.
part of it.
I think
that's
it's Goff.
part of it. Mm-hmm. But it's also, is your defense good enough to not make him score 35 points a game to win, which is kind of where they were last year. I think certainly this team this year, on paper and based on what we saw in Kansas City, looks like a better defense. That in and of itself makes Jared's job easier, and makes Jared a better player.
Okay, finally, the UAW strike is in 7 hours.
Apparently, yeah, it's right behind me.
6.
I don't know what they're doing in the control. You know how
Take
that
us
works.
out on that. What's your prognostication on the UAW versus the Big Three? Any projections for this game?
I mean, it is the Fords.
Kickoff's 7 hours and 50 seconds
Listen,
away.
Man, you already had me talking about something I wasn't ready for. I'm definitely not going there.
You're a specialist. You know, we general news guys got to know everything. Listen, Dan, really, thanks for the time, man. If there's ever an extra ticket or two, you got my number. You know what I mean? I just, the Lions made me mad my whole life. I wanted to get some tickets, but I just can't be Charlie come late.
I don't know, dude. You were telling me about your behavior in the press box before we went on. I'm not sure I want you as my
guest. They won't let you in, Charlie.
I take the end zone, baby. All right, Dan Miller, voice of the Lions and the director of sports at Fox 2 News. Thanks, man. Have a great season.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Thanks, Dan. I bought club level seats years ago, and I just gave up. I said, this is a waste of money.
No.
So I got rid of them.
Well, now you got to get them back.
Nope. Don't want to do. I do say this, though. Dan Campbell at least looks like a football coach. Matt Patricia just didn't give me football coach vibes.
Yep.
Well,
and I'm just, because I'm not a football person, I'm just telling you from that perspective. I'm like, dude, you don't look like you should be a coach.
You know who gives me all things internet surveillance?
I would say XG Communications.
Man, they give me those vibes. Well, you know, when it rains, the power goes out. And when the power goes out, the internet goes out. When the internet goes out, I call my friend Matt and Bernie at XG Service Group. Look at Bernie here on his hands and knees, giving it everything he's got. Look at that man crack. So busy, he forgot to wear a belt. There's Matt right there getting the board together. That's 734-245-4100 if you need Matt and Bernie to come take care of your voice over internet, your security cameras, off-campus access control, Wi-Fi, and cameras for homes and business. They'll design it for you. You got restaurants, they do drive-through systems, railroad cameras for public safety, total wireless camera systems for your home and business. Yeah, that's right. Call XG Services at 734-245-4100. You know what? When it rains a little bit, the power goes out. We kind of told you the power goes out. We told you that the electric future can't be the future if you're not taking care of the present. Let me just take you back to Paulie the Power Guy. We had to, he's very, very up there. Are we ready? Oh, what are you doing? For G,
Sorry,
what are you doing?
I thought that was the cue.
No, I'll go like this. Here's the cue.
Yeah, what's the cue?
I tapped the Emmy.
The Emmy's not in the clip, though.
And
That's
Dan
crazy.
Miller didn't have one of these. And then, it's the Emmy. Listen to that.
It's the clicking of an Emmy.
Finest 10.
Bite it.
Brass plated. It's unbelievable. That's not even.
What is that?
I don't know.
10.
I don't. Okay. Anyway, listen.
Sorry.
Want to start this? Oh, by the way.
Yes.
The hour's up. It's
Yes.
bonus time.
Yeah, bonus content.
Bonus content.
free.
Hit the donate button.
For free.
Do we have a donate button?
Yes, there is a
All right,
donate
we might have a donate button. You go to NoBSNewsHour.com.
You got it, yeah.
We have a website.
We do.
It's a pretty good website.
I think it's a great website.
It's a great
merchandise.
website. Yeah.
Background. Old.
No, there's no
I don't
merchandise.
know about that, Karen.
No,
Now
we
you're
have
getting
the
way-
merchandise
now you're
in the
getting way-
back room over there.
Well, we did have a merch button.
You're getting way ahead of yourself.
Oh no,
now.
you're going way back in the past.
No, I thought I was moving toward the
No,
future.
we fired
talked
the
about.
merch guy. We fired him. We got merch
Is
back
that
there.
why I don't have a shirt?
You stop bitching. There's right back there. Go back there and get one and leave me alone. Bonus time.
I don't have anything to complain about.
Oh.
That's your cue, Mark.
All right. Donate. Hit the donate. Go to YouTube. Give us a like. Give us a share. Give us 5 stars. And get us
5 stars.
up on the charts, man. All right. Paulie the Power Guy. He's a big power guy here in Michigan. This is what he got to say about the electric future.
Hit the Emmy.
I got to give him the cue.
Did I just break the Emmy? Are we ready for GM and Ford to be all electric by 2030? Do we have in America the capacity to generate and deliver electricity?
Absolutely not.
Ooh,
We're not even close. We're not even close to being ready for that.
What do you mean? So tell us what is needed, and then tell us why we don't have it.
Well, we need to be able to take care of the demand that we have now. And look what's happening in California. They're having rolling blackouts because it got a little warm out. And they're going to mandate that everybody drives an electric car, which is going to add to that demand. So what we have to do is beef up our infrastructure electrical infrastructure before we add the demand.
What did you do? No, give it.
Wait.
There's your T-shirt. Anyway.
Do I have to give it back?
No,
It's
listen.
the extra large.
We're in the middle of a bit. now.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh, look, Karen's got her shirt.
Look, I got my shirt.
Look at that.
Yay.
You got it. Do you want one that says Charlie LeDuff?
Sure. I'll wear your name on my body. Where is it?
It's
Hey, wait a minute.
It's right here in my pants. I'll call you later.
Wait. Hold on. We don't want any
Mel.
issues, Charlie.
You're not a contractor. Now listen. Now, okay. So Paulie the Power Guy.
Paul Lee. I like Paul Lee.
I'm loving this show because man, we're into everything. Right. Regular people way, but we do the work. So Paulie the Power Guy told you like a year and a half, 2 years ago when. All of these prognostications and demands of the auto companies and the appliance makers were going all electric. Paulie, who's got very much to do with your electricity, says it ain't going to happen. Right? You looked it up, and Ford is going to go all electric by
2035.
2035. So in 12 years,
Yep.
all electric. We'll get to that. Here's our dumb Secretary of Energy, Jennifer Granholm, and you all know it in Michigan. You all know it because she was our governor, and they spent hundreds of millions, billions of dollars for alternative energy before she scampered out of here, and we have no battery plants. The windmill companies went broke. So here's the new performative. Can I take that word?
Yes, you can.
Here's bonus time. Go ahead, click the donate. Yeah. What?
I'm waiting for my cue.
The cue, yeah.
Gotta hit the Emmy.
Well, not yet.
Not yet.
Jenny decides, you know what? We're going to get on the ground with the regular. We're here on the ground. Like, here on the ground is like where regular people live, like you're on safari. You know what I mean? We're here in the Serengeti.
She's in an ivory tower.
We're here.
She's Jenny from the block.
And she's going to take the electric vehicle on a cross country, cross state. She's gonna go from North Carolina to Tennessee.
4 hours.
500 miles, 4 days. Electric vehicle to tell you like how great this is going.
4 days.
Yeah. She's not talking to Paulie the Power Man. We're talking to Paulie the Power Man. She is doing selfies. And go ahead. She's followed by not No Bullshit News Hour, but NPR. Okay.
You got to hit the Emmy.
Oh.
Hey, everybody. Here on the ground in North Carolina, we're starting our summer road trip of talking about the investments in America as a result of the president's Investing in America agenda. We'll be taking electric vehicles on this road trip, and I'm very excited to point out all of the investments that are happening, creating jobs, especially in South Carolina, North Carolina, Tennessee, and Georgia. Follow along.
Gosh darn. Gosh darn. And when we get to Memphis, we're going to have some barbecue. Then, of course, NPR. You pick an NPR for a reason because they suck. They do. Well, just get it. It's knee pad journalism. Right?
Yeah. Well, that's why they went on the trip.
That's why they went on the trip. Even NPR couldn't turn down what happened. All right. It takes on a supercharger, it takes 4 hours. Right? I don't know what there is to do, and there's not enough superchargers. So they get there, but Jenny's not there yet. So one of the staff in a gas vehicle, and remember her security's driving around in a gas Suburban in case there's actually an emergency and we need to get somewhere and we can't trust the electric vehicle. They basically, it's sort of like when you get a parking spot, like you got somebody, go stand there and I'll go around the corner,
Put a chair there.
So they put a gas guzzler in there, and then there's a family from Georgia with a little baby in the back, and it's really hot, and they're they're holding it for Jenny. And then the family gets so mad they call the police. And even NPR can't resist a good story.
Yeah.
And it's a fucking embarrassment. Doesn't work. I mean, I'm for clean energy, don't get me wrong, but this is no way to run the richest, most mobile population in the world.
No, it's not. That's not how it's done, and that's not how it's going to be done. It shouldn't be done that way.
Now, here's the thing. Hit the donate button. I'm here to talk about, the president that nobody's going to vote for. Do you believe actually if Biden and Trump get there, Trump's going to win?
I do.
So
and that's not that's not an endorsement or any sort. I really do. I think people are quietly disappointed, even people in the Democratic Party, with Biden, and I think that people would pull away from participating, but Trump's base is energized and they want to see vengeance. They want some type of return on what they feel was a loss.
Even though I just say it's so exciting, people are going to vote. I just think that it's exciting. That we can elect a president who's going to be in prison, or we can elect a walking corpse. I mean, it's like I'm voting.
Those are our options, and I think that that's going to keep a lot of people away. But I do think that Trump's base is energized. I do.
Oh yeah. Now, having said that, okay, the president's investments and nothing, and nobody can even afford these things, and the government's got to give you $10,000 to even entice you to buy it. This is the CEO of Ford. Is it Matt Farley?
Jim Farley.
Jim Farley.
Mm-hmm. Wait a minute. That's his brother, Chris.
I think is it
his cousin?
Cousin, I think. Yeah.
Oh, we got all that straight.
Chris Farley is his cousin.
Yeah. Once you see that, you can't unsee it when you hear him talk. Yeah.
Chris Farley's his cousin, and they're all a joke. They're all a fucking joke. Both big fat guys doing pratfalls, right?
You got to hit the Emmy for the. There you go.
Maybe if I hit it enough, it'll straighten back out. Oh, my God. I get the cheap regional Emmy. I see how this goes. All right, so.
Yeah.
Chris?
Jim
Belushi?
Yes.
Okay, Jim Belushi, the CEO of Ford.
Chris Belushi. Jim Farley.
Fuck him, man. It's the guy making too much money, running the company in the ground, making bad investments to get stockholder share prices up so he can get his bonuses. That's what he's doing. Now, you said, we looked it up, by 2035, they said a little bit ago before they laid off all of my brothers and sisters around here, right? Decided to siphon all the money off the moneymaker, the gas engine, in order for the electric motor that ain't working. Here he is with Brett Baer on Fox News. That's what he had to say.
Got to hit the Emmy.
It's not working, right, in electric vehicles. Can you say that definitively?
Great question.
I think the way we see the market today is that there's more and more electric vehicles offered to customers, but they're just not willing to pay a premium for them. Some customers who have the right duty cycle are really interested.
She said
the
duty.
price premium that we see a year ago is not there today. And we're going into the mass consumers who have a lot of charge anxiety. They don't have range anxiety, they have charge anxiety.
So you would be against a government mandate of any kind?
Well, I think the government is trying to work on CO2 reduction. You know, we've as the company with the most auto workers in the U.S., we talked deeply about their vision and our vision for EVs. We think EVs could be 30, 40, 50% of our business. We just don't actually know, Brett.
30, 40, 50. I thought it was 100.
You know, I'm going to say, from a communication perspective, very disappointing as a leader. As a person in charge, that was not very impressive.
You know what I'm looking for?
What?
I'm looking for an electric van that I can live in down by the river. What a dope. You're a dope.
It kind of reminds me of Jethro Bodine a little.
My God, he reminds me of his cousin.
Exactly.
That's crazy. I can't. You gotta do a split screen at some point.
Let's do the news though. No bullshit news. Did you hear the CEO of Ford just after a year where they went almost $5 billion in the hole on EV that nobody's buying, that Paulie the Power Man told you we can't charge anyway, that dumb Granholm drives around trying to get some free pub and it blows up in her face? These are the people leading. This makes no fucking sense. And GM made record profits. Ford made near record profits. What is his name? Jimbo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is that, yeah,
Jim Farley.
I got it right. Oh, Jimbo over here just got his compensation jacked up around $20 million. Mary Barra over here getting hers jacked up to $30 million. UAW goes on strike, you pay them. We had Bob King on here. We know what the cost of labor is, right? And not even 5% of the damn vehicle. Yeah. You made record profits, and you made everybody eat shit. So if this is the last hurrah, by the way, it's not the last hurrah. We're not going to electric vehicles. That's not the future. The future, watch Toyota. Hybrid is the future. I will drive a hybrid. Right? Let me commute on electricity.
I did drive a hybrid. I loved it. Loved it. It was great.
What was it?
Lincoln MKZ.
And what happened to that? Did they discontinue it?
The lease was up. You know what? I think they did discontinue. I think they got rid of all those small vehicles.
Jeez. This reminds me when, like,
Mark's driving
Chrysler went bankrupt, right? And I knew the security that had to follow to see.
Yeah.
They didn't really have any good electric vehicles, but they're driving to Washington. Yeah, and the security followed in a gas car in case they had to get them out of there. And then they flew home in jets, and they weren't electric jets.
I want to stop, fill up my tank, and go about my business. I don't want to go somewhere, look for a plug up my. I just don't want to do that.
Oh, speaking of plugs, ADR overseeing more than $250 billion in private and public construction projects. You got trouble with the government. You got trouble with your bottom line. You got trouble with the help. Get it done right, on time, on budget. Get somebody that can help you manage your product, your project before you lose your ass. It's Barry Ellentuck at ADR. Ethical, smart, and getting it done on budget, on time. 248-318-9424. And I got so much anxiety, so much. I'm having trouble sleeping.
I got a solution for you.
What do you have?
Nextevo.com.
What about them? What is that, and what do you mean?
They're CBD gummies, but the sleep has melatonin in it, so it'll put you out.
CBD meaning an extract from cannabis.
You got it. Yeah.
Does not
no
get
THC.
You high. It's got
THC.
ameliorative.
What?
It's
You've been
ameliorated.
Yeah, exactly
have you been
said.
eating gummies, Charlie?
Let's almost hit that button. Donate to the weed fund. But these products are not weed. These products are the natural extracts from cannabis that can help you with your anxiety feelings. They can help you with your trouble sleeping. They have a stress complex. They have a sleep complex. Stay well going into the fall.
Yeah.
I didn't know how I felt today. I love the light. I love the snap. Right? I'm not sure I know what's coming on. I sleep well at night. The windows open, and then you got to close the windows.
That's why you sleep well.
And the cabbages are starting to curl. It's all really good.
Is that a euphemism?
No, just stay well. Go to Next Evo Naturals, nextevo.com/no BS. Get a 25% off discount and a free bottle of the premium pure CBD. It's a $50 value. You only get one. Don't be like that.
But they do send it to you. See, that's something a lot of people don't do. They promise you an add-on, and then you don't get it. It does. You get it. It comes.
Okay. Thanks for the plug for UPS.
No, it has.
They got a raise.
No, they sent it.
They got a raise. Come on with it. Oh, by the way, you're going to get nailed, man. I believe what they're going to do is, I think it's the first time in history they're going to strike all of. They're
all
going to
three. That's what Sean. What is his last name?
Fain.
Fain. Yeah. That's what he said. That they're going to do all. I guess they're going to stagger, but they're going to do all three.
Oh well, I called my sources.
And they said
got sources over here. I'm reading the New York Post Times. No,
what'd they say?
That's what I'm hearing from the inside. What?
Well, that they're going to strike at the same time.
I'm gonna hit them all.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then the Teamsters said they're not going to deliver any new ones.
Hey,
It's going to be a mess.
This guy is either a psycho or he's a genius. But I love his negotiation approach.
And you know who else is a genius?
Who?
This guy from New York Fashion Week.
Yes.
Karen said, there's a guy, New York Fashion Week's going on, and he just, one of us, just a regular dude, thought it'd be funny, so he puts on some salmon pink Bermuda shorts, puts on a granny bathing cap, takes his shirt off, puts a clear garbage bag over himself, jumps on the runway and walk Facebook. I don't even fucking look at Facebook anymore. I'm sorry. If my mom doesn't, I don't, but let's play that with some sound. Look at this guy. They're loving it.
And they're taking pictures.
He's getting applause. Here comes security up there.
Security got rid of him pretty quick.
I mean, to the guy's credit, he didn't swing back. He didn't. You know, he wasn't doing the center field
I
bit.
bought it.
He's like, okay, take me out.
Oh, yeah, with the security, yeah.
Karen, stop it. No, we're in the middle of something.
I know. I'm asking Grace to tell. Kirby's at the airport. I'm asking her to tell.
Please,
Okay.
please. We're in the middle of something. No, I'm not
Can
taking
you take
calls.
this for me, please?
Oh, God, man.
Can you do?
That's inappropriate.
I'm sorry. My daughter's out of town. I want to make sure she's okay. Go ahead, spank my hand.
No.
I wanted to make sure she was okay. She's traveling. So I apologize. She probably thought we'd be done by now. Okay, so let's get back to the fashion thing. You quit?
I do. You finish it.
I don't know what's left, Charlie. Okay, no, we got to show Charlie's. Charlie, come back.
Well, if you thought that guy was good, you haven't seen anything yet.
Okay.
I'm wearing a rubber suit with a pair of stockings stuffed down the front. I descend the staircase and... Wait, is that laughter? Are they laughing at me? No, wait, they love me, yes? It's laughter of love. I'm fabulous. I'm decadent. I've gone by the metrosexual and crossed over into... Ziggy Stardust! Clothes don't make the man, it's the man who makes the clothes.
And that guy, he did not need to be
So
pushed off.
the first guy sauntered, but Charlie sashayed.
You know,
there's a difference.
I watched the whole thing. Charlie took walking lessons. He did the whole modeling thing. It's actually a really good piece. But yeah,
And his outfit wasn't bad either.
New York Fashion Week is so weird.
I know.
So weird.
it
I don't
is.
get it. But,
So,
yeah.
is that the show?
That is the show. Yeah.
All right. Well, Mark, thank you. Charlie, thank you. We got to go find him.
There he is, right there. There's the Emmy.
All right.
The Emmy will take the place.
What happened? What'd you do?
We wrapped up the show. You told us to wrap up the show.
I just had to go to the bathroom.
Oh, I didn't know that.
You walked out and said, I quit.
No, I said I had to piss.
Oh, I thought you
I
said
missed
I
that.
quit. I'm sorry.
You missed
Maybe
this
I did.
fantastic male model that walked the catwalk, though.
He sashayed.
Did you guys?
We did play it, yeah.
Yeah, we played it.
Talked
We
about
talked
how you
about it.
took all the lessons.
Did you see that bulge in my pants?
No, we
Oh,
did
did
not.
I ever?
Oh, yeah.
I didn't look.
You-
I didn't
Fetish
look.
rubber.
I did not look.
What color would you call that cape?
Royal blue.
Royal blue? I thought it was purple.
Like a
Oh,
teal
yeah,
kind
yeah,
of thing.
No, it's not teal.
Look at that fetish rubber. I look good. I look like Adamant.
Yeah, you do.
They love me, yes?
There
It's
you are.
laughter
And look at
of
they
love.
love me.
I'm
Look at
fabulous.
New York
I'm
loves. Look,
decadent.
did you see that?
I've gone by the
Did you see that movie?
metrosexual and crossed over into...
So, did you go to finishing
Ziggy
school, Charlie?
Stardust!
I went with
Clothes
Willie
don't make-
Ninja. Willie Ninja, Paris is Burning. If you've, okay,
I
the
don't
whole
remember
talk about transgenderism and all of this, it is so famous. It is about fashion, New York, but the gay. At that time, it wasn't trans. It was gay,
just gay.
life, and it was people of color, right? And it's really
Paris is Burning? Is that what it is?
it's called Paris is Burning. And I asked Willie. Willie gave me the runway.
Well, he taught you
lessons.
well.
And I said to Willie, I go, you keep saying people of color. Like, why isn't it colored people anymore?
And
you know what he said?
What?
It's more elegant.
Oh, okay.
That's a really, understood, man.
I guess.
Okay. Extra syllable, but it sounds
But it
way
sounds good.
better, man.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't sound...
And he passed away.
Sorry.
And is a friend of mine. Willie Ninja.
You've had a very colorful life, Charlie.
I've had a very life of color.
Life of color. I didn't say you had a colored life. I said colorful. Today's show was good. Hey, we had bonus content and extra bonus content. That was good.
It was. It's nice hanging with you this week.
Thank you,
I
Charlie.
was pretty proud. That was pretty smart. Pretty smart
Yeah,
show.
it was good. Thank you, Mark.
Stick up for yourself, man.
Grace for the past.
Don't let him tell you. How did it go from the 90s where it was, hey, motherfucker, don't do what they tell you, to, hey, motherfucker, you better do what they tell you?
That's a good question.
Think about that. See you next week. Wait a minute.
There's more.
Okay. Eat your heart out, Miller.